So I'm John Luxford. I'm the CTO and one of three co-founders of Flipside XR. We are a team of about a dozen people right now, spread over 4 provinces across Canada, I believe. And yeah, Flipside XR, we make a product called Flipside Studio that's basically a virtual television studio. So you embody your characters. You can be a director or a character on virtual TV sets. So we have cameras, a really cool camera switcher, live monitors, teleprompters, actor marks, all kinds of stuff that you'd find on a real world TV set. We have virtual equivalents for that. So we help content creators make animated content for YouTube, for TikTok, and even live theater. We've done a bunch of that. And we help them bridge the gap into VR, by making things less technical for them to have to do. So what I do is I lead our product development team. And since we're a small team, I still get to be pretty hands-on with some of the development. But as we've been growing, we'll see how long that lasts. And today I want to talk to you guys about our journey at Flipside XR, the challenges we faced in finding what I call metaverse market fit, figuring out what people want to actually do and what makes the metaverse sticky, I guess. The metaverse has been a rapidly expanding space. I'm not even sure necessarily which technologies are included or not in it anymore, like whether NFTs and AR and VR and infrastructure, Web3 are all part of that. But as early adopters, that's just something you kind of deal with as one of the obstacles is even defining the thing you're working in sometimes. But despite the challenges, we're still here 9 years in, which is pretty crazy in new tech like this. And so, yeah, I'm going to share some experiences and thoughts from that. First, I'm going to talk about the metaverse a little bit more and the concept behind it, because it's kind of when I was asked to give this talk, I was like, I hate the word metaverse to describe what we do and what everyone's building, because I think it's a little too, it works really great in Snow Crash, where Neil Stephenson coined the term. It was a great book, and it was a great, he also coined Avatar, actually, in the same book, which is really neat. And it works great for the story and this idea of this 3D world is an equivalent of ours you just hop into. But when people started building the metaverse, they just started building empty spaces you could stand around and you could chat, but you can't really do much. And so we had to kind of ask deeper questions, because I think like the metaverse itself is kind of boring infrastructure. Once you have it, users expect it. And then from there, you have to dig deeper to provide value and give people things to actually do in, I guess, the metaverse. So and I mean, good example, nobody except nerds like me get all that excited about infrastructure, but they do get excited about Gorilla Tag, easy game mechanic, and that's all you need. So that's kind of the distinction I'm thinking of. Rewind a bit, how we started Flipside. So our company's been at this for 9 years now, and I've actually been working in VR for 10 years, counting that the 3 of us founders worked at an adult education company doing e-learning, working with the original Oculus Rift developer kit, the DK1. And so that was how we got our first exposure to it. And then we quit our jobs and we started our own company, because we were like, this is crazy. This is really cool. Why don't we figure out what we want to make in it? Back then our company was called the Campfire Union. And we started out having honestly no idea what we wanted to make. We just saw the potential in this hardware, and we were like, it's not often you're kind of given a blank canvas to paint on, technologically speaking. Let's see that, where that goes. So to make money, we did all kinds of service contracts, web development, mobile development, 360 projects, and we take our profits or any spare time we had from that, and we would, put that and reinvest that into different VR experiments. And I think we did about 24 different experiments and various things by the time we kind of serioused up and made a complete one. So yeah, we made a virtual relaxation app for Google Cardboard, for the Samsung Gear VR way back. We made a color by numbers app, virtual synthesizer, a full-fledged tower crane simulator that was even multiplayer, and you could like signal from the rooftop and pick up a load and do all the full, like, that was really neat. And a ton of others like that. And then we were like, let's make something a little deeper. Let's make a full game. So we licensed the card game Lost Cities from a game maker named Reiner Knizia. And it's this two-person like card game that I've been playing forever, and was kind of just a great fit for the input controls and the like that the Gear VR had at the time. If anyone remembers, the Gear VR was like a little, you put your phone in the front and you can only tap on the side to click. So it was like a mouse pad on the side of your head was your input, and you could just look around. And so that was very limiting. But we, so we made this game, Lost Cities, which ended up getting us a talk at Oculus Connect. Les Clausen, my business partner, spoke down there. We got to an intro to the Oculus platform team before they actually introduced their multiplayer and all those other services, which we lucked out and got to beta test. So we actually tested the platform SDK before its release, and we're the first third-person game to launch using it, which was really cool. And I guess Lost Cities VR was also the first virtual reality board game. So that was neat. And that said, though, the challenge we had was that the Gear VR market size was just too small at the time. And all the other stores were pretty similarly tiny. So we kind of regrouped and we were like, what do we do? Do we, do we make another game? Is the market still going to be too small to support that? And games can be hit or miss. What should our next move be as a company? And so we stepped away and reflected, and we came back with some realizations. We were like, we need to start developing more of a framework, and we need to think about, like I mentioned, the metaverse being basic infrastructure. We knew that things like multiplayer, the first time you see somebody in that telepresence of seeing them across a virtual room and being able to talk to them, is like really neat and wows people, but they're not wowed every time they log into VR chat. They're just logged in and now they're just there and connected and see people. And it's just like, you're not wowed to see someone on the street unless you haven't seen them for a long time. So, so we knew we needed to build this kind of infrastructure stuff, and saw that right away. And, go deeper on that than just like building input controls and like physics of throwing and stuff. We needed to handle multiplayer, audio, motion capture. We, started going, okay, camera controls would be really cool. Obviously you need friending people and all these other things. So, we also realized we should focus on something that speaks to our passions and that we could see ourselves as users of. I think that's an important thing. If you're building something, you need to really deeply understand the subject matter. So we all came from a performance background. Les was in an improv comedy troupe, worked in television and broadcasting. Rachel had a theater and a music background, and I've been performing music since I was a kid. So that sort of felt like the right thing. And then we were like, artists don't have the technical skills to be making AR or VR. Like, it's rare that you're a musician, but you're also a software developer and you're, good friends, a 3D artist. Like, those combinations are still kind of separate skills. So I don't think every actor or every musician should have to become a developer and 3D artist to make something. So there's this gap that we could provide tools and really make something valuable, and then bridge that gap so they can actually participate in creating this new medium. Like, we're sort of, painting this new canvas, but if the only people who can do it are highly technical, then that's leaving a lot of people out. And I feel like there's an importance to the accessibility of that. So with that, we started Flipside. And our first experiment in it was actually a group Pictionary night at the local AR VR meetup that we started. And it was a pretty big hit. Like, it was really cool. We built an interactive prop that you could draw with in the air, and that's still actually the magic pencil in Flipside Studio to this day. And our avatars were just like static head model and hands. I don't even think the hands moved, like super rudimentary, but it was like our first proof of concept we could, test. And so we felt like we had some nugget there, and then we fleshed that out over the next year. We worked with like some local actors and started, an online beta and soliciting feedback from a wider community, which eventually it was obvious enough that we were into this idea that we should change our company name. We're all in on this. We became Flipside XR at that point. We stopped focusing on a lot of these other things and just that was it. And around that time, we also started, we did a 10-night fringe show called Pixels with local improv duo who we loved working with. And that ended up selling out 9 of the 10 nights, was a big hit with the crowd, lots of laughs. But like from a tech standpoint, the like internet access in the venue and it overheating because there wasn't air conditioning and all of these little technical hurdles that we had to jump through. It was surprising the tech worked at all, but it worked. We learned that glitches often make for great comedic opportunities. So even when it didn't work, it did. And but that's a bit longer of a story for another time. But that was a really cool performance experience we got. And actually Katie from that improv duo now works on our QA and leads our QA team. Yeah, at that point, shortly after, or in and around, memory's fuzzy. Now, we got accepted into the Boost VC Startup Accelerator, which focuses on like frontier technologies like VR, AR, AI, hoverboards, etc. They've been a great source of help and everything for us over the years too. So look them up if you're, that makes sense. Through that, we actually met a comedian named Jordan Sermonera and made a little web series called Earth from Up Here about an alien newscaster just making fun of all the dumb things in our news every week. And honestly, still one of the favorite pieces of content we've produced with our app to date. That led to doing a show with Caffeine TV called Live from the Eighth Dimension that like really expanded our use case and like proved it out in a deeper way. We did about a year worth of episodes every week, 1 hour episodes. About 40 minutes of that was just completely improvised live multiplayer shows. Each episode had a special guest who probably hadn't even tried VR before, and they just threw them right in. And then they had about 20 minutes of that was pre-taped stuff. So it really stretched out our motion capture capabilities and all that. And then, we kind of took that, value stream mapped everything. And we were like, how do we make this whole process better and more efficient and make new things possible in it? And we kind of like turned in for a while and rejigged our whole user interface and got ready. And like this was around the same time we were starting our port to the Meta Quest headset, and took a little bit. And then now we launched in March, early March, and can handle crews of up to 10 people acting or directing or camera operating remotely. It can be used just as easily by individual creators, recording and adding parts and acting against themselves, or collaborating. And we've got so much more up our sleeves. I'm really excited. We've got another update coming out tomorrow that's really exciting. So more brain dump stuff here, because that's the present now. It's actually the future, since tomorrow's our software update. But I'm going to do another brain dump of just kind of like thoughts on things from there based on that. So that's kind of how our company got through the last 9 years of surviving in this metaverse thing. So yeah, I keep coming back to the question of like, what is the metaverse? What's the like what collection of technologies are necessary for it, what doesn't necessarily belong together, what is the core of this idea. I will say I'm not a fan of NFTs. I think crypto is one of the least efficient ways of solving a lot of problems that crypto solves. Has like privacy problems, things like that. And I don't know that a public ledger has proven its value in a lot of, like, it's had years to do it. I don't know, but that's probably a whole different talk. But I don't know that the metaverse needs that. It didn't in Neil Stephenson's, vision of it. And it, there are healthy metaverse platform type things like VR chat that are definitely not in need of crypto, to my knowledge, and have healthy economies. So I don't know. I think the parts of the metaverse that I'm actually more interested in are probably closer to that original vision of a virtual, blend of reality and like this reality, another reality, a bunch of reality. It's almost like a multiverse, because you can hop into Rec Room or Flipside Studio or VR Chat or any other like platform, and Horizon Worlds, and you are in a part of the metaverse, I guess. So it's really just apps that render immersively, whether that's through a web browser, on your phone, in a headset. But I think long term, it's all kind of with the implicit goal of becoming, through your eyes experiential thing, and but still a lot of that is basic infrastructure. It's, find a multiplayer platform. It does your voices. And now there's a plugin for spatialization, and that simulates how things come at you from different positions in the room and all of that. So that stuff's valuable. There's lots of really cool stuff there, but it's quickly becoming basic infrastructure. And we need to keep going beyond that. And like, maybe the metaverse definition is just the web, that's all it is, the 3D web or something. But, I guess like from there, the question quickly becomes, what do you do with it? Like, what purpose? How do you develop something that provides value? And then you're back to like, is it a productivity app? Is it a content experience? Is it social? Are you, making connections? Whether that's a private rooms or open, or being at a live event like a concert, like or making art together, like performing together, making visual art, music, and things like that. So yeah, and I guess like that question of what do you want people to do in the metaverse, like we've already seen, Meta, Facebook throw out, I think it was Facebook Spaces before their name change, and that was their first attempt at a sort of metaverse thing, and that didn't really work out, and they shut it down. And now they've tried Horizon, and I think we're still watching them struggle to find that fit of what it is we want people to do once they arrive at the metaverse. And so that's, to me, the most interesting thing to start focusing on next, is how do we actually keep providing value. Realizing time might be getting on a little bit. I'll give you a quick kind of, so we recently went through the App Store process with getting approved for the Meta Quest. That was quite a daunting challenge. Here, I think I have a slide for that. It's so getting approved on there is more like getting approved for like a console gaming system. It takes like I think it's still a 12-week process. And the tips on that, I'd say, is they have a web page of just like every requirement, and it's super, super substantial. So going through that, you really have to pay attention and go like, how do I how do I focus on the right things? Ask questions. You'll need somebody on the inside. Like, you'll need once you're approved to work with Meta to get through the App Store process, you'll be assigned somebody, and just really, really ask questions. Don't hesitate, because like you want to set yourself up as best as possible. The frame rate expectations are incredibly high, because if you like if you sort of just like cause a little judder here and there, what happens is people start feeling sick over time. So the barrier is so much higher than like the iOS or the Play Store. And with that, you also, because it's a longer process, you have to really plan out your marketing. You have to plan out like 12 weeks out just for the release, but you have so many other things in a software release. Like you have documentation, website, your marketing, your PR, your game trailer, your app store details, your write-ups, your social media. There's just, the list is almost endless. It's really, that's something, it definitely expect to take a good long while there. Another thing was, I'll say funding sources. This is still an early market. So, like if the Meta, or if the Apple Vision Pro sells, say 200,000 or $500,000 in the first year, that's still a very small market you can sell to. So you have to get on multiple stores if you're going to balance that out. So that's really challenging. So bootstrapping would be the easiest way. We did that for years and years. Startup accelerators, look into those and apply. Those are great things. As Canadian businesses have very generous research and development tax credits, provincial tax credits for interactive and digital media. Grant programs like the Canada Media Fund have been really valuable for us. There's sometimes the platforms will actually fund things, but that's pretty rare. And then figuring out a sales model that actually works, figuring out are you charging a one-time fee on the store for your app? It can be hard to build sustainability that way. It makes sense for a lot of game studios, but an ongoing app you keep developing, make sense more for an in-app purchase model or subscription model. And even subscriptions, though, some users start feeling subscription fatigue. So that's that can be a challenging thing. And, and then there's finding investors. If you're actually going to go beyond just an accelerator and you find investors, you really want to find relationships that provide actual value, connections, meaningful connections, meaningful mentorship, things like that. Different programs can really vary. But honestly, the best way to get started, I still think, is bootstrapping. You can try to align your work with the thing you're building and build it out. And there's no stronger signal than someone handing over cash to say you found some product market fit, and build an idea. The biggest mistake I think we made was too big of an idea early on. And it was just a big idea. I don't think there was any other way around it. But if you can build one that has valuable chunks that are stepping stones to building something bigger, way better. Hindsight, maybe. I don't know how we would have done it any differently, but that's something, that's really important to consider. So, yeah, I think I'm going to jump to a little wrap up here. So reflecting on this, our company got to be the first virtual board game maker. I wish it was still in the App Store because it's really neat and it was really cool in how we immersed people in the idea of the card game. Such a simple thing. We got to make the first virtual TV studio. That is really neat. We get to be the first at something, and an emerging medium feels really cool, but honestly doesn't motivate you for that long. So why do what you do is an important question to keep asking yourself and as your team, and crafting your team's culture and values as well. And so to me, software is an art form. I believe it expresses the beliefs of the people creating it by making something possible that wasn't possible before, possible now. So for me, I believe there should be tools that make it easy for creators to make immersive content and share it with the world. I've realized a big passion of mine is making creation tools, software that just helps people make art. I get to help them realize their vision. And it's really humbling to be a part of that. So, and I'm super proud of our team for that as well. And so, yeah, if you're getting into the world of immersive content creation, as an actor, as a, things like that, director, creator, give Flipside Studio a try. It's free, and it's pretty great, I think. And if you're looking to get into the world of immersive development, I hope this talk gave you some insights into some of the processes, challenges, and experiences bringing a product like that to market. It's an uphill battle, but it's worth it. And there's nothing like seeing somebody get value from the thing you've built. So thank you.